On the morning of Yom Kippur last year, news began to filter through that there had been a deadly terrorist attack against my synagogue, Heaton Park, a place where my family and I have prayed for generations. This is naturally a story of grief and trauma, but also of remarkable resilience, a word that's been used numerous times today already, determination and strength. On that fateful day, videos quickly emerged highlighting the gravity of the situation. I also knew that my father forms part of the volunteer security team and was on duty at that time. There was also a strong possibility that my 88-year-old grandmother would have been in the synagogue. For years now, we've been aware that an attack against our community was a possibility. It was a case that we were shocked, but not surprised. Whilst following my personal protocols, I was being contacted by the political leadership in Greater Manchester, members of Parliament, the Home Secretary, and those who work closely with our Prime Minister. I was briefing them whilst not knowing whether or not my family were alive. The chair of my organisation, Marc is a once-in-a-generation communal leader who commands the respect of those not just within our community, but far beyond it. Marc was at his synagogue at the time, and when he came online, we immediately briefed the leadership in Greater Manchester. We were told that diaries were clear and we would have whatever we needed. Following this meeting, I glanced up at the television screen and I saw my father and my rabbi on the news walking in the street, at least physically unharmed. Later on, I was sent a photograph of my grandma sat on a chair wrapped in a blanket. It subsequently transpired that my father came face to face with evil, confronting the terrorists through the security gate. He then demonstrated incredible heroism, managing to barricade the door with his body whilst raising the alarm. His actions did not just stop a terrorist, but they saved the lives of everyone inside. During the aftermath, in addition to speaking with the country's most influential politicians, I was inundated with calls to appear on our nation's media. I took advice and decided not to do any media until after Yom Kippur terminated. That gave us the space to ensure that our messaging was calm, accurate, and responsible at a moment of immense tension. With my chair, we appeared alongside political and emergency services leaders at a staged press conference before I spent the next few hours speaking with every major news outlet, including a number of live appearances both on domestic and international news channels. The following morning, politicians and media still needed to be briefed. I met the Prime Minister at the synagogue and attended a roundtable chaired by Marc, bringing together our national communal leadership with the Prime Minister, Home Secretary, and other senior politicians. The coming days were relentless phone calls and media appearances. I also took the unprecedented decision to work on Sukkot to ensure we kept hold of the narrative, as I was concerned about people with no credibility having unchallenged access to our airwaves. In the days that followed, we met ministers, briefed government, and made clear what was needed to keep our community safe. However, there is a determination not to be defined by this tragedy. On Yom Kippur, the synagogue prayed the whole service, whether in the street, the car park, or the police station. Temporary premises were located nearby, and not one service was missed. Synagogue attendances actually increased, with those who had not attended for years feeling inspired to do so. And this culminated in 1,500 people packing our synagogue on the first Friday night after it reopened. Terrorism tried to close our synagogue, but instead it filled it. At the hastily arranged vigils, we held 3. We commemorated the tragic loss of Melvin and Adrian and prayed for the recovery of those injured. And I gave my word that we would publicly call out those who were disingenuous or wished to do us harm. We have done this in Parliament and the media. We remain outward-facing and welcoming to those from outside our community, whilst calling out those who have refused to engage with us in good faith. We are told the silent majority are with us, but remaining quiet now is no longer an option. We are determined not to vacate public spaces, with record numbers attending Hanukkah lightings, even in the aftermath of the Bondi Beach atrocity. We are not hiding. We will continue celebrating our immense contribution to our country. If the intention of this terrorism was to drive people away, it has clearly failed. After what we witnessed, preparedness is no longer optional. It is essential, and that has been highlighted with the terrifying scenes seen across the world over the last couple of weeks. Every community must rehearse for the unthinkable. Every synagogue must know their protocols, and every leader must personally know people at the highest levels of government. But beyond the tragedy, the immediate aftermath, and the proximity of my loved ones to a terrorist attack, there is something much deeper. On January the 10th, my twin children celebrated their B'nai Mitzvah at the synagogue. A few weeks after the attack, it was the first celebration after what we had endured. So we have lived through our worst nightmare coming true, but our synagogue remains open. Our community is thriving, and our faith remains unbroken. We are proud British Jews, and we are not going anywhere. Thank you.